There's a kind of tiredness that doesn't go away with sleep. It's not the kind you feel after a long day of work, or the fatigue that comes from running errands or staying up late. This tiredness runs deeper. You wake up after 8 hours of sleep and still feel heavy. But it's not your body that's weighed down, it's something else. It's as though your soul was carrying an invisible burden, a weight you can't even describe because it's not physical. It's emotional, psychological, and it doesn't seem to go away. The worst part is, when people ask you how you're doing, the answer isn't easy. You can't point to anything specific and say, this is what's wrong. It's not one major life event that broke you, but rather 1,000 little things. 1,000 small moments where you didn't have the energy to say no, where you didn't have the strength to stop, little disappointments, unmet expectations, the constant demands of life that you never learned to say enough to. Each of those moments quietly drains you until one day you wake up and realize you're just exhausted. And so you keep going. You show up. You smile. You do what needs to be done. But inside, you feel like a ghost of who you used to be. Emotions become distant. Joy feels like something you used to know but can't quite reach anymore. It's not that you're sad or unhappy. It's just that everything feels muted. Even the things that used to bring you joy, those simple moments that once made you smile, are now just fleeting shadows of what they once were. This is emotional exhaustion. It's not just being tired. It's a deep, profound fatigue that goes beyond the body and enters the soul. It's when the emotional energy you've been giving out exceeds the energy you've been receiving back. It's when the mind has fought for so long that it finally stops. Not because it's weak, but because it's simply depleted. It's when the reserves are empty and the fight is no longer worth it. What's interesting is that this kind of exhaustion isn't always visible. People may still see you as functioning. You go to work, you run errands, you smile in pictures, and you go through the motions of your daily life. On the outside, everything seems fine, but inside, the noise is deafening. The mind begins to shut down emotionally to protect itself, filtering every experience through a lens of fatigue. The reward systems in the brain slow down. Dopamine, that little spark of motivation, begins to fade. You no longer feel the little joys in life that used to drive you, and everything starts to feel like an empty task. That's why when someone says, I'm just tired, it's not a cry for help, and it's definitely not laziness. It's the mind saying, I've been carrying too much for too long. The weight isn't just physical, it's psychological, it's emotional, it's spiritual. And it's not something that can be fixed by a good night's sleep or a cup of coffee. It's something deeper. The problem is that in today's world, we don't value rest. We don't value stillness. We live in a culture that worships productivity. We celebrate the ones who push through exhaustion, who work overtime, who never stop moving. But we rarely acknowledge the importance of rest, of taking a moment to simply be, to pause. There's this idea that we have to earn rest. We tell ourselves that we have to work hard enough to deserve a break, that only after we've given everything we have then, maybe, just maybe, we can allow ourselves to slow down. But here's the thing. If you wait until you've earned rest, you'll never get it, because there will always be more to do. There will always be another deadline, another responsibility, another expectation, and you'll keep running on empty until you can't remember why you started running in the first place. The truth is, being tired doesn't mean you're weak. It often means you've been strong for too long. You've been the one who always shows up. You've carried everyone else's burdens because you didn't know how to say no. You've held your emotions inside because you didn't want to be a burden. You've ignored your own needs because you felt you had to put others first. But eventually, your mind and body can't take it anymore. The exhaustion becomes too much, and that's when the whispers start. That's when you begin to hear the voice that says, I can't do this anymore. And this is where the shift happens. This is where the exhaustion can become something more. Because when you reach this point, when you've been so tired for so long, something in you begins to ask, what's the point? And on the surface, that might sound like hopelessness, like despair. But in reality, it's a sign of awakening. It's a sign that you're beginning to realize something important. You need a reason to live for, something that gives life meaning. Because when you lose touch with what matters to you, everything starts to feel heavy. So in that moment of tiredness, when everything feels pointless, that's actually when transformation begins. It's when you stop fighting and start listening. You begin to hear the message in the exhaustion. You need to realign your life. And realignment doesn't mean changing everything overnight. It doesn't mean quitting your job or moving to a new city or making huge dramatic changes. It starts with small things, small acts of honesty with yourself. What drains you? What fills you up? When you begin to answer those questions, you start to see the patterns that have kept you stuck. You start to see what needs to change. But it's not about rushing to fix everything. It's about allowing yourself the space to heal. It's about finding moments of quiet, moments of peace, moments of stillness. It's about learning to listen to your body and mind instead of pushing through. It's about treating yourself with the same compassion you've shown others. Because here's the paradox. You've spent so much time being strong, carrying the weight of the world, that you forgot how to rest. And now, you're learning that rest isn't laziness, it's repair. It's the first step toward rediscovering the meaning and purpose that has been buried under all the exhaustion. And when you start to listen to your tiredness, something incredible happens. You begin to reconnect with the things that matter most. The little moments of wonder, the warmth of sunlight through the window, the scent of your favorite food, the feeling of listening to a song that resonates with your soul. These small, everyday experiences become anchors in a sea of chaos. And in those moments, your nervous system finally relaxes. You begin to breathe again. That's the power of rest. It's not about stopping, it's about starting over from a place of truth. When you stop running, when you stop pretending that everything is fine, you begin to heal. And that healing isn't instant, but it is real. So if you're tired right now, know this. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're simply being called to reconnect with yourself, to listen to the quiet whispers of your soul, to stop pushing yourself to the brink of burnout, to rediscover what it means to live with purpose, and to allow yourself the space to rest. This isn't the end. This is the beginning of living a life that feels true to you.